When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Sigamos adelante, siempre adelante, siempre adelante, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Amaremos con pasión. Siempre con pasión. Siempre con pasión, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna reach across our borders, reach across our borders, reach across our borders. Never turning back, never turning back. Vivamos sin fronteras, siempre sin fronteras, siempre sin fronteras, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna reunite the family, reunite the family, reunite the family, never turning back, never turning back. Familias reunidas, siempre reunidas, siempre reunidas, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turning back.
Good morning. And let me emphasize good. My name is Dan Brodax, and I have happily made this community my spiritual home since 2004 when Sue Shaner and I met. At the time, I was living in Massachusetts, and UUCD was temporarily meeting at WestCon. I relocated from Massachusetts to Connecticut in 2005, and have been a member of this congregation since 2006. Susan told me what a special community it was, and I could see what a blessing it was in her life. Likewise, I've found it to be an incredibly warm and welcoming place for my two boys, Sam and Luke, who had lost their mom, Brigetta, a year earlier. She had been deeply rooted in the Lutheran tradition, and I had learned the value of a supportive community firsthand. I'm Jewish by heritage, but did not practice that religion. I knew this was home. What I did not know at the time was that this was going to also be a musical home. That realization happened when Nancy Hershatter and Joanne Davidson and I shared our love and sensibilities for music. We became fast, close friends and formed our folk rock trio Prism in 2010. I am incredibly grateful for all the opportunity you as a congregation had given us to grow as musicians and share our passion for it with you. And because of you, I have found a musical home like none I could have ever imagined. So I want to thank all of you with all my heart. Welcome to the online service of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury on this wonderful spring-like November morning. More than the season is about to change. Let's all take a big breath. The election is over. I hope you are happy with the results. I know I am. We're so glad that each of you are able to join us this morning, and together in community, we can ensure that social distancing does not mean social disengagement. Our weekly services are more than just a gathering of our physical bodies. It is the forming of a sacred time that we make together. Whether you are well-versed in the technology of teleconferencing or this is your first venture, we welcome you. For those of you new among us or reconnecting with fonder hearts, we invite you to introduce yourselves and where you are connecting from in the chat box as you are comfortable. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, whatever your theological stance, whatever your heritage, whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. You can learn more about us on our website and Facebook page, and we encourage you to share our Facebook page and reach out to others who may be isolated at this time and might benefit from the spiritual connection with our loving community. And I do have some announcements. Today, we welcome Reverend Meg Riley as our guest minister. Today, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury and the Unitarian Society of Hartford worship together in community, and also Reverend Kathy Reinstar as well. The Social Action Council will meet tonight at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And if interested, please contact Margaret Henderson at ravenhen@gmail.com. And she will send you an agenda and Zoom link. New members are always welcome. Mark your calendars for our November 29th through December 5th online auction. And there's still time to send us your offerings. Please contact Barb Myers and Lisa Horton at auction@uudanbury.org. Also, we're seeking matching donations for the auction. The matching donation program allows everyone to participate. Any contribution, no matter how small, helps. Since the auction revenue will likely be lower this year, a dollar amount is preferred this year. Please contact Eva DeFranco with your contribution today. And after our service, we invite you to participate in a breakout group for individual connections and deeper check-ins. We'll mute your lines in order to optimize audio from the speakers, but you can turn your volume up and down as well. You may select speaker view or gallery view to change the webcam view located in either the top right corner of your screen or above the window frame. You may need to scroll down through the many webcam titles to see your friends or even speakers. At times, we will have text like this on screen, other times just the video panes. I'll chat to you, Congregation of Danbury, privately. If you have any questions or technical issues, please minimize the chat if you find it distracting.
Good morning. My name is Peter Meany. I'm a member of the Unitarian Society of Hartford. What a beautiful morning it is, with birds chirping and temperatures rising. I find it hard to believe it's November. The events of the past week only add to the sense of uniqueness. Let's savor this moment and the beauty of this warm November day together. It's such a treat to be a guest of UUCD this morning. Thank you for inviting us USHers to worship with you today. I must confess, I knew nothing about the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury, that's a mouthful, and was astounded when I saw in the order of service that your congregation was founded in 1822. I thought we were your older cousins. You folks are coming up on your 200th anniversary soon. What a proud history you must have. I have one announcement for the Hartford UUers. Our online auction is in its final week, and the bidding is intense for the many unique items offered. Next Sunday, we will conclude the auction with final online bidding live after the service. More details are available in the e-news. Thank you.
Good morning, all. I'm enjoying this already so much, seeing people I get to see separately most of the time together, that I almost forgot it was my turn to say something. Thank you so much to all of you for being here and sharing this space and co-creating this sacred time together. It is so good to be with you this morning. And in addition, it's fun to have my spouse and co-minister, Reverend Kathy, with us as well. And I am deeply grateful to Reverend Meg Riley for coming to create sacred communal space with us this morning. Meg is one of a handful of colleagues I have for years now looked to for wisdom and truth-telling at crucial times. USHers will remember that she gave the sermon at our installation service in 2015, April 2015. She is now the co-moderator of the Unitarian Universalist Association, our denomination's highest volunteer position. And for many years, just recently, she was lead minister for the Church of the Larger Fellowship, which got me thinking about one brief story I wanted to share with you on this memorable weekend. I first joined the Church of the Larger Fellowship in July 2001, when I moved from Pennsylvania to Taos, New Mexico, where my girlfriend at the time was studying to be a midwife. There was no lively UU congregation in Taos, so I joined CLF, which is an online-based congregation without walls that provides a spiritual home base for UUs all over the world, and also many incarcerated people, especially in this country. Over 19 years ago now, one of the main ways to connect with others through CLF was through these old school email-based listservs to which any CLF member could comment. I was working as a prep cook in a Taos restaurant kitchen when the tragic events of September 11th, 2001 happened. And those UU CLF listservs were my point of connection, my place of connection with other UUs. So I was a little stunned to find, and memorably disabused of my prior naivete, what a wide range of opinions and feelings UUs can have about a transformative national event with international implications, like 9/11 or this past week. UUs actively serving in the military, UUs living abroad, UUs living in New York City. We were all weighing in and learning from one another's very different perspectives during those tumultuous days. Well, this past week, I have been reminded of that deep learning. We Unitarian Universalists and our extended families and many other community connections, we are human beings, and we have a broad spectrum of feelings, reactions, life experiences, and perspectives on even and sometimes especially those things that seem like we would all be in unanimous agreement. And so today I am mindful again that our work together as UU congregations is to keep figuring out how to hold all those feelings, reactions, life experiences, and perspectives, if not under one roof or even today among one congregation, but within the earnest, understanding, ever-evolving embrace of one faith. As the children lead at the First Unitarian Church of Oakland, California, it's a blessing you were born. It matters what you do with your life. What each of us know is a piece of the truth, and you don't have to do it alone. So may it be. Join me now in bringing a chalice or candle near to you. Take a moment to kindle this light in your home that we share, this light that we share, and that symbolizes the enduring strength of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Take a moment to light your chalice, and then join me in UU Danbury's chalice lighting words, which are on the screen, and USHers, you can look for the subtle differences in this great covenant that so many of our congregations have adapted. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life.
Good morning. It is good to be together. I'm going to just echo the chorus. It is good to be together. Two congregations joining in community this morning. What a week it has been. If there are children and youth who are in the room but not near the screen right now, I invite you to come over so you can see the time for all ages that Rayla Matson, the DRE from the Hartford congregation, and I created together for you. While you're on your way over, let me share with those of you from the Danbury congregation that today in religious education, we are making gratitude trees. Your adults got an email about that this morning, so you can get more information there. And there is also an event at 3 p.m. for high schoolers. See your text messages for details on that. If you're from the Hartford congregation, I think what we're about to do will be familiar to you as something you do when you're meeting in person in your building. I hope it will feel familiar and you will join in. Let's say together the children's affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. A quick note about the video before it plays. Rayla and I recorded this Time for All Ages video on Wednesday morning. For those of you who have been following the election this week, that might feel like a lifetime ago, especially if you've had a mix of feelings about the election. We hope our conversation will be helpful to you even now. Good morning, Rayla. Great to see you.
Good morning, Sierra Marie. I'm happy to be here with you today.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm a little happy, but also I'm a little sad.
Is there anything you could do today to cheer yourself up?
Well, I thought about it, and, I realized that sometimes it's okay to sit with my sadness because I'm honoring how I really feel inside.
Something wrong with the
How
audio.
about you? How are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling a little sad today too, actually. I'm not feeling very happy.
Yeah.
I said I want to be happy, but I'm just feeling sad right now. I've noticed a lot of people this week are feeling a lot of different kinds of feelings. We had the election this week, right?
A lot of feelings about that.
A lot of people are having a lot of feelings about that. Some people are a little bit surprised about how the election went, and some people are not surprised.
Right.
But I noticed that there are definitely people who are feeling sad like us.
Yeah, and so I wonder sometimes, like, how can we just honor that sad part of us while also honoring our happy side? So we have two very different feelings, but they're both valid and they're both healthy, and we need to honor both of them. So it reminds me, Sierra Marie, of chocolate and apples.
Ooh, when I see those things, I think if I just saw the apple, I would be willing to just eat the apple. But when I see it next to that chocolate, all I want is the chocolate. How about
Right.
you?
I do too. I really, really like the chocolate, but I know that sometimes having too much of the chocolate makes my stomach hurt, and then that makes me sad. And I know that the apple is really healthy, but sometimes I just want something a little sweeter than an apple, you know? So I sit with that. How do I feel? Like, I wouldn't want just all apples. You know, I like a little variety. I do like chocolate, but I also don't want to have just the chocolate. So recognizing that sometimes I can have both of something, and neither one is completely good and neither one is completely bad. Sometimes it's okay for them to live together.
Like happiness and sadness. I see. Has there been a time in your life when you have been able to have happiness and sadness together?
Yes. This week I was feeling, I'll admit, a lot of really, really sad feelings. And then I sat down with my kids and we played some games. We played Uno. We played a game I like called Sequence, and it was a lot of fun. Wasn't it fun to play Sequence and Uno, Seiji? Yeah. So while I was really sad, I did have a lot of fun playing games with my kids, and we laughed and we laughed and we laughed, and I laughed so hard I started to cry from joy. And then it was over, and I still recognized that I still had those sad feelings, but that even though I have those sad feelings, it's also okay to hold on to those happy feelings at the same time. And sometimes the sad feelings makes the happy feelings even happier.
This makes me think about a time when I felt sadness and then I felt happiness at the same time, and I almost felt a little bit nervous or guilty when I first started feeling happiness. It was when I was in high school, my sister's best friend died, and it was very sad. And I remember sitting with my sister's best friend's parents around the kitchen table and telling stories about my sister's best friend, and it got us all laughing really hard. It makes me kind of wonder what it means to be happy during a time of sadness.
I think it's healthy. I think if we were just sad all the time, that would be hard and we wouldn't be able to get anything done. And if we were just only sad, then we wouldn't honor those happy feelings that we all have inside as well. And we want to honor those too, right?
That's so true. That's so true. Sometimes when I sit on the porch with some friends or sit around a fire pit with some friends and we just talk and laugh, it can help me sometimes talk about the things that I feel sad about without just getting totally lost in my sadness, without feeling totally lost in my sadness.
That's true. Like when I go to the doctors all the time, sometimes I like to make jokes, and then that way I'm not as sad because I find things to laugh at and that are funny, and it's okay.
So a couple of weeks ago, I told the kids in the Danbury congregation, or I told a story in the Danbury congregation about how the world tells us some things that are not always true. and that the spirit and love and justice tells us some other things that we need to sort of bring closer to the world and move closer toward in our lives. And I was thinking, I wonder if living into joy for you, if living into happiness for you is ever a way to kind of move away from the things that the world says that are untrue.
It is. And it's like, for me, I like to use the phrase, it's an act of resistance. By finding my happiness, by finding my joy, by finding ways to smile and laugh. What about for you?
Yeah, so I think because I think for me it's also an act of resistance. And as a person who has some privilege in my life, I also think that it's really important for me to understand that I can't get so lost in my joy that I forget the work that I have to do.
Right. And I can't get so lost in my sadness that I forget about all the joyful things that are around me.
So true. So true.
So, Sierra Marie, before we started talking this morning, I was really sad. And I was having a really sad day. I even cried this morning. But seeing your face and talking to you and knowing that I have a good friend that I can connect with actually makes me really, really happy. So thank you.
It made me really happy to talk to you too. What a joy to be with you this morning.
It was. And I hope we can do it again soon.
Me too. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much to Sierra Marie and Rayla for working on that beautiful conversation together for all of us to get to savor. Now is the time in this service for the sharing of personal milestones in your lives. I want to start with one personal note of the Danbury congregation. Longtime member Meredith Spector will be leaving Connecticut on Saturday, November 21st to move to the Midwest and be closer to her children and grandchildren there. Meredith, you have contributed so much to this congregation in so many ways, too numerous to catalog here. And just one among them has been adding your voice to the choir. So while we all commit to staying in good touch, even more doable in these online times, we expect to see you still often on our screens. We also wanted to sing you off with joy for your journey. So Jerry is going to help us with that. He's going to sing a chorus of Woody Guthrie's tune, "So Long, It's Been Good to Know Ya."
So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. This dusty old dust is getting my home. You gotta be rolling along.
That is a fun tune to look up if you haven't listened to it for a while. I encourage you to do so later. Thank you, Meredith, Jerry, and all. I also want to share personal news of the Hartford congregation this morning, which is that beloved and longtime member Tom Reed, also very active in so many ways with the Hartford congregation for many years, has moved to Seabury this past week and is receiving hospice care there. Nancy and Tom's daughter, Tricia, has traveled from Florida to be with both Nancy and Tom. Our best wishes, thoughts, and prayers go out to the Reed family at this time. Amidst all the heartache, uncertainty, hyperbole, and deep pain of this present moment in our country, as well as the joy, we do also experience all our own individual joys and sorrows. Now is the time for sharing in the chat those personal milestones that are lifting up your spirit or weighing it down today.
It is now time for our congregational offering. If you are with us at UUCD for the first time, feel free to pass the virtual plate. For your presence here in the Zoom room is your gift to us. UUCD members, please click the link on your screen to make a donation or a pledge. Even though we're not in our beloved fellowship hall, our online expenses are still the same. Operating expenses, are still the same. You may also mail a check to UUCD at 24 Clapboard Ridge Road in Danbury. And thanks so very much for doing your part to support and sustain this community that we all love. I hope you will join me now in our congregational response. In the spirit of compassion and service, we dedicate these, our offerings.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me.
Thanks for your generosity. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Jerry. It's been a morning for you, I know. I'm Meg Riley. I'm really glad to be here with you today. When Heather asked me some months ago to come and be with you, I said, I have no idea on the planet what I might want to say that day. She said, that's okay. Just show up and say whatever you're thinking about. Dangerous. But so I'm really glad to be with you. It's lovely to see old friends and meet new ones. And this is a benefit of COVID that we get to drop in on each other. I'm here in Minneapolis, in my hometown, where it's also gorgeous, I should say. So I learned once from a rabbi that a sermon title which always will work is For Such a Time as This. And I considered that one for today. But instead I went with Now What? Because I figured whatever happened this week, we'd be saying, now what? And Yeah, so it's really good to be with you as I reflect on now what. Last night, and some of you have referenced this morning, many of us took a full breath for the first time all week, maybe in longer than all week. We listened to speeches from the president and vice president-elect, and they said words like truth and science and Black Lives Matter and healing and compassion and democracy and other words that many of us have been longing to hear from the mouths of elected leaders. We laughed and we cried and I felt as if I'd crawled onto shore again after being in a very stormy sea for a very long time. And now it's the day after that. And recounts and lawsuits and probably some tantrums will follow as the current occupant deals with losing. But we have turned a corner as a nation, so it's a good day to ask, now what? Inspired by Howard Thurman's piece, The Work of Christmas, the UUA's former co-moderator, one of them, Mr. Barb Grieve, wrote these words yesterday. When the glee of the progressives is stilled, when the posters in yards are removed, when the lawyers and politicians and pundits are quiet, I think if ever, when the protesters are safely home, the work of democracy begins to prioritize the vulnerable, to reunite the caged children, to feed the hungry, to house the houseless, to release the prisoner, to decriminalize poverty, to provide health care for all, to educate the masses, to care for the earth, to protect the vote, to let life flourish. Mr. Barb's reading ends there, but it could go on because the work of democracy takes place in every aspect of our lives. It includes teaching children about fairness and kindness, caring for elders, giving money as we're able to support causes and activists and individuals who need it, to organize or to create beauty and art and music and more love, to listen to the voices of those who are consigned to the margins, co-creating a democratic faith like this one. There are so many ways to do the work of democracy, as specific and varied as the people of the world. When we ask what next, it can be tempting to believe that we need to have one strategy and one way to act for all of us to follow. Progressives in particular are really good at spending time attacking each other's ways of doing this and saying, no, that's not the one right path. You need to do what I think is most important. Unitarian Universalism, on the other hand, has always offered multiple paths, multiple metaphors, multiple ways of understanding, multiple ways to be involved in our congregations. We're the opposite of people with tight, narrow understandings of faith who might have a bumper sticker that said, God wrote it, I read it, that settles it. We'd want to say, settles what? And then we'd want to talk all night about all of it. That's us. We can be frustrated for people who want more definition, who want fewer questions and more answers, but it is a strength of our faith and a strength of our nation that we have such diversity. I was up at the Wolf Center in Ely, Minnesota last year, and they sold a shirt. It said, the strength of the wolf is the pack, and the strength of the pack is the wolf. Another way of saying e pluribus unum, from the many, one. The pressure to believe that we all need to unite now and do the same work, and that if we don't, we'll be trampled, is actually antithetical to the work of democracy. Two researchers named Erica Chenoweth and Maria Stephan wrote a piece called Why Civil Resistance Works, studying every movement for justice from 1900 to 2006. And they found that a key part of successful movements was a multiplicity, not only of tactics, but of strategies and even goals. And I say this because as we ask, what now? We each need to ask it particularly where we are of our own cities and states and neighborhoods and communities and schools. And we each need to ask it individually, what is next for me? What is my work to do now? In an essay that I've gone back to over and over for 40 years now, one of those desert island essays for me called The Transformation of Silence into Language and Action by Audre Lorde, which you can find in her book called Sister Outsider, a book of essays. She says this: what are the words you do not yet have? What do you need to say? What are the tyrannies you swallow day by day and attempt to make your own until you will sicken and die of them still in silence? Perhaps, Lorde says, for some of you here today, I am the face of one of your fears, because I am woman, because I am Black, because I am lesbian, because I am myself. A Black woman, warrior poet, doing my work, come to ask you, are you doing yours? I'm not a Black woman warrior poet, but I am here to ask us all the same question. Are you doing your work? Because although there are many ways to take action for democracy now, the way forward won't come unless we all do the work, unless we all summon our strength and our best selves to do what is precisely ours to do. Now is not a time to exhale and say, now I can relax. Now the election's over, it's time to rest. Maybe for a day, sure, rest. Have a good day. Have a nice day today and be at it. How we move forward will really depend on what we're called to do. My sister, who lives in Maryland, in the 2000 election woke up to the way that voting really impacts the outcome. And she got super involved for the last 20 years, being a tireless advocate for fair voting and machines that can't be hacked, especially in her home state of Maryland. She joined a voting rights organization. She started to work. She ended up founding a different one. And she tells me, lest anyone feel self-righteous, that in Maryland, it's the Democrats who are the obstruction to fair voting. And it's the Republicans who want it. And so we can just say power corrupts, doesn't it? But she has spent 20 years doing this work. And this year, she finally got hack-proof machines in Maryland that she's been working for. That's the kind of person who I know is doing their work. My friend Sheila teaches immigrant kids every day at school. She's teaching immigrant kids to read. She feels like that is powerful work for democracy, to give these young children tools to have good language in a new country. She's also involved with trying to change the history curriculum, which makes her angry because the Hmong children she teaches never even learn, nor does anyone around them, why Hmong people are in the United States or even anything about the Vietnam War. And so she not only does the work of the teaching, but she also looks at the bigger picture and how to impact that with her particular knowledge and skill. My friend Sharon is deeply involved with the League of Women Voters in Chicago. She looked around, she tried to figure out where she could have the most impact as an older white woman in Chicago on policing. And she decided that if she could get the League of Women Voters in Chicago focused on police reform, that they could do it. Now, I was really surprised because to me, the League of Women Voters is what my mom used to do. And I was like, really? She said, these women are radical, man. They're my people. And she is in her saddle doing her work. You know that Reverend Kathy has been working really hard with You the Vote these past weeks, hour after hour, motivating people to come out to vote, going to Pennsylvania, doing that kind of legislative work and electoral advocacy, get out the vote work. My friend John is obsessed with the young men who are being right now recruited into the right, and he's trying to provide alternate ways for young men to find a place of belonging, particularly young white men in rural Minnesota. And he's starting sports leagues in other places. And after COVID hit, he just kept being in touch one-to-one with these young men, just giving them connection, giving them a sense of belonging, which belonging is what everyone needs and why so many people end up in places like militias. Now, some of you who have young children, I know because I see your posts on Facebook, you feel guilty because you're not out doing more. And I want to say that raising children is one of the most profound acts for democracy that anyone can do. If you're raising kids to believe in fairness and justice and listening to people and standing up to bullies. You are helping with democracy. Same if you're caring for an elder. Same if you're caring for your own health. There are so many ways to be doing this work. And I say this because of the pressure that I think we'll start putting on each other, particularly in social media, saying that's a bad way to go. Well, that's not enough. Well, that's not going to do it. And the truth is, none of these are enough. And that's why we're an interdependent web, and that's why we need each other. When I feel hopeless, the place that I go to over and over is a concept in Buddhism called dependent co-arising, which is kind of like, because this happened, that could happen. And because that happened, that could happen. Because this didn't happen, that couldn't happen. And so those tiny little things we do create the interdependent web. And if COVID has done one thing, it's made us really aware of the interdependent web every single day, how our breath connects us, how we are so connected to one another. And we need each other to be safe and to be whole. As for myself, I am so surprised to be the co-moderator of the UUA. That's not something I saw myself doing. But you know, what I did was I looked at where do I have influence? You know, no longer, when I was young, I was out getting arrested a lot and stuff. I'm not doing that anymore, even before COVID. That's just not going to be me. So, but here's a place where I can support people like Reverend Kathy and Reverend Heather, who are doing the work and work with the board and the UUA staff and really keep working on the amazing, wonderful work that so many people are doing in Unitarian Universalism across the country, and be a, you know, hopefully help to make that stronger. If you thought I was going to come and tell you what to do, you probably figured out by now I'm not. But I'm going to tell you this to do. Take serious stock of where you have social capital, of where you have real relationships, and of what wakes you up in the middle of the night. What are the words you do not yet have for the tyrannies you swallow day after day? And then consider who else might be eaten by those same tyrannies, and find those people. They may be right here in this these two congregations, but gather with others. No one can do this work alone. Consider how you might use your own power. One teacher of mine said years ago, and I found this to be so true, that if a group or if people are just bugging you by not doing something that seems super obvious to you, like, it's probably because you have a gift in that area. And instead of critiquing them about what they're not doing, it's time for you to use your gift. It's time for you to offer your gift. So I am telling everyone here, it's time for every single one of us to look deep within, to align with our purpose, and to be bold and get support from one another to be bold in living that purpose. It's a new day for the United States, and we know that the election, while it gave some of us a chance to breathe, did not begin to solve the problems that we face, the polarization, COVID, all of it. So there is a place for everyone. Democracy is a team sport. Democracy only works if many, many, many people, like the many people who just voted, take action. That's the only way it can work. I hope that you will take seriously that this is a collective venture, and that when the Lorde, Audre Lorde, asks, are you doing your work? You will be able to say a wholehearted yes. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Meg, for those words for this morning. Will you join me now in a spirit of prayer and meditation as we take in the words of Reverend Meg? Are you doing your work? Feel in your body where you are right now. Feel the breath moving through, perhaps more open, perhaps more closed than it has been all week. Take in the sad and take in the happy that Rayla and Sierra Marie talked about. And breathe. Center. Find gratitude for the sun, gratitude for being together, gratitude for this beautiful and precious day. As we seek together a way forward, as we seek to do the work of democracy day in and day out, as we seek to engage ourselves as individuals and as communities in the work of building beloved community. To do this, we must feel all of our feelings, support one another, tap in and tap out, taking time to tend to our families, to tend to losses and joys, new life and death as they come in our lives. And taking time to move into what is your work? What is my work? What is our work together? We send our love to those whose lives are at stake, to those among us here and in our wider community, to Black folks, Indigenous folks, queer folks, trans folks, disabled folks, immigrants, families separated, all those impacted by the failures of our democracy. And we recommit ourselves to finding our sacred work, to seeking the words we do not yet have, and to commit again to the work of love, to the work of beloved community, to the work of interdependence, to the work of holy, sacred being. So may it be, and amen. Let us breathe now into those sacred words and music of spirit, of life. It is our tradition at Unitarian Society of Hartford to light candles during this. I invite you to light a candle or not, as is right for you.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Join us in our closing hymn, 1028, The Fire of Commitment. From the light of days remembered, birds of beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and souls ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way. When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and souls ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise and fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and souls ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. We are going to invite all of you to keep your candles and chalices lit today through our fellowship time together, holding us in covenant and commitment to one another. Of course, if you need to go and get off screen, or if you are moving into another Zoom room gathering, we understand and encourage you to do that during or just after the brief postlude. Thanks so much to Reverend Meg Riley for being with us today and for helping us to feel that connection with Unitarian Universalism within each of ourselves and with our larger community around the globe. We have heard so many good words in this service today. Let the energy and intention of this collaborative service linger in you and continue to nourish you throughout this week ahead and whatever it may hold. This Unitarian Universalism is a faith of many, many different perspectives, life experiences, viewpoints, and priorities. Let us hold that breadth with great depth this week. A depth of commitment to deepen our understanding and expand our vision that will carry us through whatever comes. Savor the postlude with me, stretch as you need, and then join us for small group conversation during the fellowship time. When you do leave this incredible community of communities today, may you go feeling held in love, committed to peace, and more determined than ever to continue in your and our efforts for greater justice for all in this world. Our future together begins anew in every moment, including right now with this meditation on breathing, which we're going to sing again. And I really encourage you to sing along with Jerry and me this morning. You can choose your part, the low drone of breathe in, the middle part of when I breathe in peace, or the higher part, which is a little high for me, when I breathe in peace. But hey, you're on mute, so don't be shy. Jerry is going to lead us. Yes, Jerry is going to lead us, and I really hope you'll sing one another on.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, when I breathe in, I'll breathe out. When I breathe in, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, when I breathe out, I'll breathe out. When I breathe in, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, when I breathe out, I'll breathe out. When I breathe in, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, when I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.